Hello everyone and welcome you all to our today's new tutorial, which I'm going to explain about the conditional system of the Cost Calculator Builder plugin. The calculator that I'm going to use today is this amazing loan calculator. Let me show it in the preview how it looks. In our calculator we have quantity field, drop down menu, range sliders, file upload, toggle button, text field, checkbox, date picker, and time picker as well. It is very crucial to have wide range of elements in our calculator because today I will try to show almost anything inside of the conditions section of our plugin. In that case, let me jump to the conditions section. Before working with conditions, first let me introduce you with the interface of this particular section. On the right side, here you can see there is a sidebar which consists of the elements that I have used to build my calculator. With light letters, there is written the type of an element, and with bold letters, there is written the name of an element. Actually, you can differentiate these elements by their icons as well. On the top left corner, here you can see there is a special menu which will help you to find the elements by sorting them through categories: all, impact other fields, and affected by other fields. What are they, and more about this menu we're gonna talk about a little bit later. And the next thing that I want to introduce is this grid, this amazing grid. You can move it in any direction that you want. It is our main working area. If you need more space, you can minimize this sidebar and this menu and take the full control over this grid. In that case, let's start working with conditions. To add condition, first we need to make a connection between elements. But in order to make a connection between elements, we need to add at least 2 elements to our working area. In order to add some elements to our working area, I need to just press once to the element and it will be immediately added to our working space. Let me add another one, which is months, let's say. Here you can see if I select any of these elements, there are 8 dots around it. Using any of these dots, I need to draw an arrow like this. So I made a connection between annual interest rate, which is drop down menu, and months, which is range slider. Pay attention, the direction of an arrow is very crucial because it will indicate which element is being affected and which element is impacting other elements. If I add more elements, let's say I'm gonna add another elements and make connections between them also. Let's say I made connection like this, and right now I will use this menu to sort them. If I sort them by impacting other fields, there are 3 elements that are impacting others. They are annual interest rate, loan amount, and untitled 2, which is checkbox field. So basically, if you pay attention, arrow is going out from this element. If arrow is going out from this element, it means that this element is impacting other elements. And if I sort them by affected by other fields, here you can see there are months, promo code, and untitled 2, which is checkbox field. Actually, if you pay attention, arrow is coming to this particular elements that makes them being affected. In order to remove a connection between elements, we need to press this pencil icon and delete it like this. And in order to remove the element, here you can see there is a special X icon. I need to press it and remove the element from our working area like this. So in that case, let me delete other elements as well. 2 elements are enough in our case. Great, let me make a connection between loan amount and months. In order to add condition, I need to press this pencil icon and use this add condition button to add 1 condition. But if I need more conditions, I need to press this button again, and again, as many times as I want. And in order to delete the condition, I need to use this icon to delete it like this. 1 condition in our case is enough. There are 3 fields that we need to fill: condition, value, and action. Based on the condition is true or not, this action will be executed. To here we need to select some condition, to here we need to indicate the particular value, and to here we need to indicate the action. In this table you can see the available conditions for the main elements of our plugin. And right now we are working with quantity field, so let's see the conditions for the quantity field. Basically we have 4 conditions for quantity field. Let's see each of them one by one. The first one is equal to, if the value that I will indicate here is the same with the input of the user, the condition will be true and the action that I'm going to indicate here will be executed. Let me indicate, let's say 500 here, and let me choose some random action. let's say disabled. So let me save it, and how it looks in the preview, let me show. Right now months, which is range slider, is enabled, which means I can change it. But if I indicate 500 here you can see months, which is range slider, is disabled, which means I cannot make any change to it. But if I change the value of this quantity field any other value than 500, so it will be enabled again. The next condition is less than. If the value that user will indicate in his calculator is less than the value that I will indicate here, the condition will be true and this action will be executed. Right now there is 500 as the value, so let me show in the preview. If I select, let's say 300, you can see right now months is disabled because 300 is less than 500, which means that our condition is true. That's why this month is being disabled. But if I change it to, let's say 501, it will be enabled again. The next condition is greater than. The same logic. If the value that user will indicate in his calculator is greater than the value that I will indicate here, the condition will be true and the action will be executed. Let me show in the preview. Right now, by default, our loan amount is $1,000, but if I change it to, let's say 300, you can see the months right now is enabled, but any other value which is greater than 500 makes this field again disabled. The next condition is not equal to. If the value that I will indicate here is not equal to the value that user will indicate his calculator, the condition will be true and the action will be executed. Let me save it and show in the preview. Right now our amount is 1000. It's not equal to 500, so our condition is true. That's why our months, which is range slider, is being disabled. But if I change it to 500, here you can see months is enabled again. Why? Because 500 is equal to 500, which means our condition in that case is not true. That's why action is not being executed. Great, so far we have seen the conditions for this particular quantity field, but what about other fields? Let me delete this connection and add another field, which is drop down field. Let's say I need to make a connection between annual interest rate and months. And let's see what kind of conditions we have. Actually, there is only one difference between the conditions of the drop-down menu and quantity field. It is selected. So what is it? If the user select one of these options listed here and the exact value that I will indicate here, the condition will be true and the action will be executed. Right now I have indicated, let's say 3% here, and I will set action as disable. So in this drop down menu, if I indicate 1.5% here, everything is okay. But if I choose 3%, this month will be disabled. But if I select any other value, it will be enabled again because our condition is not true. And there is also select any option, which means it doesn't matter which kind of option user will select in his calculator, it always will be true and the action will be executed. Right now, if I select 1.5%, the month is disabled. If I select 10%, month is disabled. Great. But what if I, let's say, want to make this month, which is range slider, disabled if the user selects 1.5% or 10%? In order to do this, we need to use some conditional bounds. Let's say, if I press this button, here you can see another condition is being added, but with some logical operator like AND, or. We have AND, we have OR. What's the difference between them? If I select AND, the conditional bound will be true if and only if both of these elements are true. But when it comes to OR, it is enough to make conditional bound true one of these fields are true. So it doesn't matter first or second, one of them is true, conditional bound also will be true. In our case, it should be like this. I need to select the condition like is selected, and here I need to indicate 10% and action will be disabled. If the user selects 1.5% or 10%, action should be disabled. Actually, you can add another condition as well to make your conditional bounds pretty complex. Let's say I'm going to save it and let me show it in the preview. If I select 1.5% here, you can see months is disabled. But if I select 3%, it is enabled again. But if I select 10%, it is disabled again. Great, so we have seen almost all conditions. Let me jump to the actions In this table, you can see the available actions for the main elements of the Cost Calculator Builder plugin. Right now, we are working with range slider. Let's see what kind of actions we have for range slider. The first one is show. What is show? It will make hidden elements visible in our calculator. Right now, months field is visible by default. We are seeing this month's range slider, yeah? But in the element settings, here you can see there is a special option which is called hidden by default. If I turn it on in the preview, you cannot find any range slider which is called months. We need to make it visible again. Let me delete this condition, add another condition. Let's say if user selects 1.5%, action should be show. In the preview, if I select 3%, nothing happens. But if I select 1.5%, here you can see months, which is range slider, is visible. The next action, hide. Hide will hide the element from our calculator, and the value of this particular element will also be ignored. If you use this element in your calculations, in your formulas, its value will be 0 automatically. That's why be careful to use it. Right now our month is hidden by default. Let me remove this option, and in our preview here you can see there is months. But if I select hide and save it, let me show in the preview what it looks. If I select 1.5%, here you can see months, which is range slider, disappeared. The next option is hide and leave in total. What's the difference between hide and leave in total? Both of them will make your element hidden if this particular condition is true, but the second one will not ignore the actual value of this element, which is range slider in our case. It saves, so you can freely use it in your formulas. Its value will not be ignored. So the next one is disable. Actually, I have already shown what it looks like. I mean, disable. It will make the element disabled, so you cannot make any change to it like this. Great. The next one, set value. If I select this one, there is a special one value field will appear here. The amount that I will indicate here will be automatically set to the element if the condition is true. Let me add 10, and if I select 1.5%, right now our months is 5, but if I select 1.5%, you can see months will be automatically 10. The next option, set value and disable. The same logic, it will set the value that I will indicate here to this particular element, but it also makes this element disabled, which means I cannot make any change. If I select 1.5%, the value of the month is 10, but it is disabled as well. Great, we have seen the actions for this particular range slider, but what about other fields? Let me add other fields. Let me add quantity field. Sorry, we have seen range slider. We didn't see this file upload, line maybe, toggle button, and text field, let's say, date picker, and time picker. Let me speed up the video and I will make connections between these elements and this annual interest rate. Good job. Let's see each of them one by one. We have already seen month, so let me delete it, and I'm gonna move the grid a little bit like this. So let's start seeing this quantity field. So what's the difference between the actions of the quantity field and the range slider? So if I add condition, we can see the conditions. The difference is here. We have unset. What unset does actually, it will remove the data. Right now, let me use it if 1.5% is selected. In our case, loan amount is 1000, yeah? But if I select 1.5%, here you can see loan amount will be 0 automatically. So we have seen this one. The next one is this file upload Actually, in file upload, there are 3 options: show, hide, and set value. Actually, we have seen all of them, so I can just ignore this one as well. The next one is line. When it comes to line, we have show and hide options, so we can make it hidden by default and show it in the proper time. So let me delete this element as well. The next one is toggle button. In the toggle button, we have 2 new things, which is select option and disable. Select option will select the available options automatically if the particular condition is true. For example, if user will indicate 1.5% here, this toggle button should be enabled automatically. Let me select 1.5%. Here we can see this will be enabled automatically. Great, let me delete this one as well. The next one is this text field. In the text field, we have only show and hide options, so we have already showed them. Let me delete this one as well. The next one is time picker. In the time picker, we have 2 more options: set time and disable. Set time will automatically set some time if this proper condition is true. Let me set, let's say, 12:10 p.m. if user selects 3%. Right now there is nothing in the time picker, but if I select 3%, here we can see time automatically 12:10 p.m. Great. And the next section, which is set time and disable, the same logic, but it will make this particular area disabled, so I cannot make any change. Here we can see. Great, I'm gonna remove this element as well. By the way, when it comes to time picker and date picker, it is pretty different if we use them with range or without range. Right now we have seen for without range options. I'm gonna show first without range, then I will back to the with range option again, okay? So for date picker, the same logic. We have 2 more actions: set date and disable. Set date will set date automatically if this proper condition is true, and set date and disable first sets the date and makes this particular element disabled. Great. In that case, let me show how it looks if I choose the meeting date with range. Before that, let me remove this field. If I right now select meeting date, here you can see there are no any dots around it. But if I change it to with range, meeting date should be with range, calendar option, there are dots around it. Here we can see, which means we can set some conditions using this one, but before that we can't. And the action also will be changed for the date picker and calendar if there is some range. For example, in the conditions, here you can see there are the same conditions with quantity field. When it comes to actions, there is 2 new things, which is set period and disable. We need to select from and to, so if this particular condition is true, this action, which is set period, will be executed automatically. Great. I think I have explained everything well up to this point, and the point that I want to show you was, let's say if user selects this other value, this annual interest rate, which is range slider, should be visible, but until user selects other, it should be hidden. If you pay attention, we have 2 identical annual interest rate elements, which is the first one is drop down and the second one is range slider. So in order to do this, I need to first make this annual interest rate hidden, and the next one is this text field, which is promo code. If user enables this toggle button, this promo code area should be visible. And the next one is meeting date and choose the time. So these 2 elements should be hidden until user puts a tick to this arrange meeting with assistant, which is checkbox. So let's implement them one by one. So the first one is this annual interest rate. I need to link it to this to annual interest rate, which is range slider. But before that, I need to make all of these elements hidden by default. I need to make this hidden by default, and I need to make this promo code text area hidden by default, and I need to make this date picker, sorry, I need to change it to no range, hidden by default, and I will make this time picker as well hidden by default. So in that case, I'm gonna draw an arrow like this, and if other option is selected, action should be show. Let me save it. And the next one is this, sorry, a particular toggle button. I need to link it with this, sorry, not this one, but this promo code. I need to draw an arrow like this. So if I have a promo code option is selected, action should be show. The next one is this particular checkbox, and I need to link it with meeting date and choose the time, so which is date picker and time picker. I'm gonna make a connection between them like this. So the first one, if arrange meeting with assistant option is selected, action should be show. And the next one is if arrange meeting with assistant is enabled, action should be show. Great. Let me see in the preview how it looks. Let's say I indicate my amount to our loan calculator, and but I didn't want to indicate some of the annual interest rate options which is listed here. I want to enter my own interest rate. I need to press this other, and here you can see our annual interest rate is visible. The next one, I have a promo code. Let's use this toggle. You can see there is text field appeared, and I want to arrange meeting with assistant. I need to put a tick here, and meeting date and choose the time will appear. Actually, it was the end of our today's video tutorial. If you have any kind of questions, do not hesitate to address them in comments below. If you liked the video, please do not forget to give the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel. If there are some sort of videos that would you like to see in our channel, please address them in comments too. Thanks for your support.